How would you feel if nobody remembers your birthday? Mrs. Eliza, a mother, whose children had neglected her for years, celebrated her birthday all alone. Nobody remembers that it was her birthday. However, this year would be different. Mrs. Eliza had woken up that morning with a familiar ache in her chest. It was her birthday, though it hardly felt like a special day anymore. She lived alone in a quiet little house, filled with memories of laughter and love, but that was a long time ago. Her children had grown up, moved far away, and though they sent cards now and then, she rarely saw them. She spent most of her days by the window, watching the world go by. Occasionally, she'd see families walking by, children skipping ahead while their parents followed close behind, or an older couple strolling arm in arm. Each sight filled her with bittersweet memories. Today, she felt especially lonely, the silence of her home reminding her that another year had passed without anyone by her side. Mrs. Eliza had baked a small cake the night before, just a simple recipe she remembered from years past. She carefully set the little cake on the table, arranged 2 candles beside it, and poured herself a cup of tea. She stared at it all in silence, her heart heavy, and a tear rolled down her cheeks. Then, in the late afternoon, a knock at the door broke the silence. Startled, the first thought she had was that her children had come to celebrate her birthday with her. Her face brightened. She felt guilty for not having enough faith in her children. How can they forget the woman who had given birth to them and raised them with so much love and care? She wiped the tears on her face and quickly went to open the door only to find a young man standing there with a gentle smile and a small bouquet of wildflowers. He must be a delivery boy, she thought. His clothes were neat but simple, and his face was kind and familiar in a way she couldn't quite explain. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Eliza," he said with a soft voice. "I'm Ben. I noticed you sitting by the window every day when I walked to work. Today, you looked a little sad, so I thought I'd stop by. I brought these for you." He handed her the bouquet, and Mrs. Eliza felt her heart tighten at the thoughtful gesture. "Oh, thank you, Ben. You're very kind," she said, her voice trembling. She invited him in, not wanting him to leave so quickly. She couldn't remember the last time she had a visitor. They sat at her small kitchen table, the little cake between them. Ben looked at the candles beside it, and Mrs. Eliza, embarrassed, explained, "It's my birthday today. I made this for myself, but I wasn't expecting anyone to share it with." "Well, happy birthday, Mrs. Eliza," Ben said warmly. "Why don't we light those candles and celebrate?" Her hands shook as she lit the 2 small candles, and together they sang Happy Birthday. Mrs. Eliza's voice was soft, choked with emotion, but Ben sang brightly, his voice filling the room with a warmth that felt new and alive. For the first time in years, she felt as if someone truly saw her. As they ate the small cake, Mrs. Eliza shared stories from her past, memories of her children when they were young, tales of her husband who had passed many years ago, and how they had made a life together in this very home. Ben listened intently, his eyes full of kindness and respect, asking questions and laughing along with her stories. When the afternoon sun dipped low, casting a warm glow across the room, Ben finally rose to leave. But before he stepped out the door, he paused and turned to her. "I'll be back soon, Mrs. Eliza. I'd love to hear more of your stories." Overcome with emotion, Mrs. Eliza hugged him, her hands trembling as she held onto the stranger who had shown her more kindness than she'd felt in years. She watched him walk down the street, feeling a lightness in her chest she hadn't known in a long time. From that day on, Ben visited Mrs. Eliza every week. He brought small gifts, a book he thought she might like, fresh flowers from a nearby field, and sometimes just himself, ready to listen and talk. He became the family she had missed, filling her days with laughter and companionship. Her children never did call that year, and she didn't expect them to. But somehow, it hurt a little less now. With Ben by her side, she felt her heart healing, little by little. And though she had felt forgotten, Ben's kindness reminded her that love had a way of finding you, even in the most unexpected places. We wanted to end the story here, but we feel that we're not doing justice to the story. There's more to tell and you won't believe what happens next. But first, please consider to like and subscribe. It will be very much appreciated. As the weeks passed, Mrs. Eliza and Ben grew even closer. Ben became her regular visitor, stopping by every Saturday with fresh flowers, a small treat, or just his warm smile. He helped with small chores around the house and listened to her stories, but more than anything, he was a friend, someone who truly cared. The house, once so quiet and empty, was filled with laughter and life again. One evening, as they sat together, Mrs. Eliza, her voice soft with emotion, said, "Ben, I've been thinking. I never had grandchildren, and my own children, well, they have their own lives. I've been alone for so long, but you've changed that. You've given me a reason to smile again." Ben smiled, his eyes warm with kindness. "Mrs. Eliza, you're like family to me too. I lost my own grandmother years ago, and meeting you has felt like finding her again." They decided then and there to make it official. Mrs. Eliza adopted Ben, legally making him her grandson. It brought them both immense joy. Ben visited more often, helping with everything she needed, and on some evenings, he even brought his friends over, filling the house with laughter and warmth. Mrs. Eliza felt younger, happier, and her heart was full. But as time went on, her health began to decline. The once lively house grew quiet again, as Mrs. Eliza became bedridden, and Ben, ever loyal, stayed by her side. He was there to hold her hand, read to her, and comfort her as her strength faded. She would smile at him and say, "I'm so glad you came to that door that day, Ben. You made my last years the happiest of my life." Then, one peaceful morning, Mrs. Eliza passed away, with Ben holding her hand. He stayed with her until the end, his heart breaking as he lost the woman who had become family to him. Arrangements were made, and her children were notified, though none of them seemed more than faintly interested. Days later, the family gathered for the reading of her will. Her children, who had been distant for so many years, seemed expectant, assuming there must be something valuable to inherit. But as the lawyer read her will, they were taken aback. Mrs. Eliza's words, written in her own shaky handwriting, said, "To my children, I wish you well. Though our paths drifted apart, I hope you find happiness. But to Ben, who gave me love and joy when I had nothing left, I leave my home. This house has been filled with memories of kindness and laughter because of you, and I hope you fill it with your own happiness." Ben's eyes filled with tears as he realized the depth of Mrs. Eliza's love for him. Her children looked shocked, and one of them muttered, "She left everything to a stranger?" But Ben knew he wasn't a stranger to her. He was family, and he had been there when she needed someone the most. The house, her precious home, was now his. She hadn't left money or jewels, but she had left him a place that held all their memories, their laughter, and the warmth of her love. And as he walked through the rooms, now so quiet without her, he felt her presence everywhere. In every corner, every worn piece of furniture, and in the faint smell of her favorite tea, Mrs. Eliza's spirit lived on. Ben promised to keep her memory alive, to fill the house with kindness, and to remember always the gift she had given him, the gift of family, love, and a home filled with warmth. Thank you for staying to the end. We hope you have enjoyed the story of Mrs. Eliza and Ben, and we wish you too would find the happiness that they found with each other. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next story.